So when we talk about the Aral Sea crisis, there are huge regions of the world that are impacted by that issue. Karakalpakstan is one of the regions hardest hit. Not only is it dealing with water availability issues, just a shortage of good quality of water, there are issues with salinity, including high levels of pesticides in a lot of the drinking water samples. They're also one of the areas hardest hit economically. It's one of the poorest areas of Uzbekistan. Much of their economy used to rely on the fishing industry from the sea, which has completely collapsed. And so when we think about the regions most vulnerable, most susceptible, we're automatically looking at that part of the world. The human health impacts that we're seeing include reports of higher rates of certain types of congenital malformations, so birth defects, of certain types of cancers, of higher rates of kidney disease, and these appear to be at rates that are higher than the rest of Uzbekistan. And so local researchers are really starting to flag the fact that there's something going on in this part of the world that's causing really measurable and compelling human health issues.
We have to invest to the research on the environmental health and the environmental impact of degradation to the health of the community. So yeah, this is important to invest in this area. And TIFO is one of the great organizations who works in this area.
TIFO's approach to all projects is to make sure that they are ultimately led locally. We are a supporting partner. We are not the ones to go in and tell people what the problems are and tell people what they need to do about them. We're planning to go back very soon, actually this summer, and look at historic water quality data, potentially collect some new samples to see what's happening with seasonal variability in water quality over time. And all of this is important because it really helps us to inform a good intervention that will result in improved health outcomes. But it's also important because it's the intervention that the Ministry of Health selected. The thing I keep coming back to personally in Karakalpakstan is that every drinking water sample we collected, every single one of those samples had levels of pesticides that are above criteria here in the US. One of the challenges that TIFO faces in working on these projects is that sometimes the scale of the problem can be pretty overwhelming. And there may not be a better example of that than working on the Aral Sea crisis. That crisis is widely regarded as one of the world's greatest ecological disasters. And we have a pretty solid understanding of the fact that we're not going to be the ones to go in and put water back in the Aral Sea and solve the problem. But that doesn't mean that through working with our local partners, we can't find areas where we can have real, measurable impacts on improving the lives, the living conditions of the people that are dealing with the outfall of that crisis.
I think a lot of people, and maybe my perception even before really getting this experience, was that, you know, you have X problem, you can come in and have Y solution and there's a new shiny building or it's just fixed. But that made me realize that that's not really the case, and what you're doing here is sort of giving kids in the future generation a chance at having a normal life that isn't affected by pollutants or chemicals or causing any health problems down the line, and that it's kind of a long haul type of work.
I hope that it will continue and develop, and we will find the funds and projects, how we can say that, sponsors or donors to support this project. And I hope TIFO can manage this and develop the project to improve the environmental change, climate change here in Karakalpakstan.